Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Why is the middle class shrinking? Why are people facing an affordability crisis while marginalized individuals called informals grow in numbers? Join me as I travel the world, speaking with people living in invisibility, the leaders working to solve it, and uncovering the hard truths shaping our economy and daily reality.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform. It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, March 3rd. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of rain and snow this morning. It'll turn to all rain this afternoon. The high is 38. Tonight and overnight showers, low 35. And then Wednesday, mostly cloudy. Chance of a pop-up shower, high 49. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 21 cloudy in Nyack up in Rockland County. It's 30 and cloudy in Metuchen over in New Jersey. And it's 27 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Missiles continue to go in and out of Iran this morning. We're getting to see the Clintons talk about Jeffrey Epstein. A Bronx elementary school stabbing has parents freaked out. Neighbors of one New Jersey town want to know if they can get rid of someone on their block. And a huge honor for a hero soldier from Staten Island. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. U.S.-Israeli forces continue their assault on Iran at this hour, including a strike on the Iranian state broadcaster. The death toll, and these numbers, you never know how reliable they are, but the Iranians are saying the death toll now at 787. The Israeli army also intensifying its air attacks on Lebanon this morning. They've launched a new ground incursion into that country's, the south part of that country. Saudi authorities say 2 drones hit the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, causing a limited fire and minor damage. President yesterday afternoon talking more about Operation Epic Fury. He says things are going ahead of schedule as it conducts this operation against Iran.
Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime.
The president continues to say Iran ignored warnings from the U.S. about going forward with its nuclear program, has been hostile towards the U.S. for decades.
The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America. For almost 47 years, this regime has been attacking the United States and killing Americans. Every time you see someone with missing arms and legs or a face that's been absolutely shattered violently, it was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb.
6 U.S. service members have been killed during the first 3 days of Operation Epic Fury.
In offering objectives for the military action, Secretary Hegseth said Iran's nuclear ambitions had to be addressed, saying they hadn't ceased since the U.S.'s strikes against its nuclear facilities last June. He and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff reiterated what President Trump has already said, that more U.S. casualties should be expected as the operation continues. Kate Fisher, Washington.
2 suspected Iranian drones are the ones that are responsible, apparently, for this explosion at the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia.
The embassy, located in Riyadh, was hit by the drones Monday night. The Saudi Defense Ministry said on X that it resulted in a limited fire and minor material damage to the building with no injuries. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Yesterday, we were hearing from Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the Operation Epic Fury was necessary because there was an imminent threat to the U.S. He told reporters that when the U.S. learned of an upcoming Israeli action against Iran, that in his words, they would immediately come after the U.S.
If we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, attacked, that they would immediately come after us. Why does Iran want that ballistic missile capability? What they are trying to do, and have been trying to do for a very long time, is build a conventional weapons capability as a shield where they can hide behind.
The U.S., of course, working with Israel in this operation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praising the collaboration with President Trump over efforts in Iran.
But I want to tell you something. I'm not a youngster, so I've been around. There's never been a president like Donald J. Trump.
The Prime Minister was on Fox News last night where he said the two leaders work together and amazing things happen when they do, saying it would not have been the case without the leadership of President Trump.
I'm talking to America's allies in the region, just one by one by one. And I can't quote from these conversations, but I can tell you they all share this, and they all say, thank God that Donald Trump is here. Thank God that the two of you are acting together to remove this threat.
We know the Prime Minister in the past has tried to get other American presidents on board, but he said it had not worked till now.
And I try to persuade successive American administrations to take firm action. And President Trump, in his first term, did. He got out of the disastrous Iran deal right off the bat.
Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, speaking out yesterday, says his country is targeting Iran's military in its operation, while Iran is targeting Israeli civilians.
This contrast tells everything. We target military infrastructure. They target families.
That's Ambassador Danny Danon. He says Iran is lashing out in desperation as Operation Epic Fury continues to take out Islamic Republic leadership.
The dead in these bags that you see were civilians killed by the Iranian regime itself. Where is the global urgency as this radical Islamist regime spread its terror across the world?
And we're just hearing from the Israelis just moments ago that the IDF says a new strike in Beirut this morning killed a Hezbollah commander. We know that as we had heard this morning, the Israelis are actually sending troops into Lebanon, but that was a missile strike that apparently took out that Hezbollah commander. Concerns of the price of oil rising if the Strait of Hormuz is shut down for too long growing amid this conflict. The 20-mile-long strait allows a quarter of the world's oil supply to be transported across the world. Oil and energy analyst R.T. Trevino says Saudi Arabia overproduced oil and got it out ahead of the start of the conflict.
Over the last 10 days prior to the Iran conflict, that Saudi Arabia was producing much more oil than normal. And so all of that oil was able to get out into the open seas before this conflict started.
He also says the U.S. has positioned warships in the region to intervene, reopen the strait in the event it's shut down. Iran has said that they would fire missiles at any ship that tried to get through there.
Even if it's shut down for just a day or two, it might not be that big of a deal. And also, when I say keep in mind, we have two fleets of military boats over there right now, vessels, ships. And I'm pretty sure there was a reason to reopen that strait if it were to be closed.
All right, so what oil analysts are saying is gas prices could go up 25 to 50 cents by Memorial Day. WABC News Time 509. The White House says it does have a plan to counter those rising oil prices brought on by the U.S. attacks against Iran.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio made the comments Monday as Iran said it had closed the Strait of Hormuz, a key shipping corridor that sees a fifth of the world's oil tanker shipments. Rubio said the plan would be unveiled Tuesday and that Iran's navy would be destroyed. President Trump is set to meet Tuesday afternoon with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Energy Secretary Chris Wright. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
A privately funded rescue organization based in Tampa, Florida, making plans now to evacuate Americans in danger from Iranian retaliation against Operation Epic Fury. Gray Bull Rescue, as it's known. Their founder is this guy, Brian Stern, who has experience with more than 800 rescues into hostile areas. He says the response presents its own set of challenges.
Borders are open, borders closed. It's also Ramadan. With the things flying through the sky, drones, missiles, and otherwise, airspace is going to open, airspace is going to close.
Yes, so he says he's worried about the Revolutionary Guards and its proxies getting in the way of making some of these rescues.
What you're seeing now is a response, not the response. And hopefully the response hopefully they're deterred.
Now, of course, he's not going to give us a lot of details because they haven't made these rescues yet. We'll hear from him as we have in the past after they're successfully done.
The IRGC, Hezbollah, their proxies and surrogates and affiliates are a global enterprise.
Yeah, all right, we'll watch and see. 511, the Clintons videotaped depositions before the House committee investigating sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein were released yesterday to the public. At one point, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton becomes angry after learning a photo was taken of her inside the hearing room and then released online, which was against the rules of the committee.
Oh, for heaven's sake. It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah, well,
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have a conversation
for now.
The deposition was halted briefly after a conservative influencer leaked that photo from inside the room. He says it was given to him by Colorado Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert in violation of committee rules. Following her testimony last week, the former Secretary of State told reporters that Republicans went down some weird rabbit holes asking her about UFOs and other conspiracy theories.
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
Now, for former President Bill Clinton, who went the day after, he was on Friday, said he told the committee that he understood the pain of the victims of the sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein.
The girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed deserve not just justice, but healing. They've been waiting too long for both.
Bill Clinton defended his wife, Hillary.
I have to just say one personal thing. Since Hillary came in yesterday, she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing.
And Bill Clinton told this committee on Friday that he understood why he was called up.
I do think you should be talking to me. I think you should have called me. I did take those plane trips with him. And you have a right to ask those questions.
The House Oversight Committee Chair, Republican James Comer, said his committee learned a lot, but would not elaborate following Bill Clinton's deposition. 513, let's go down to Austin, Texas, where police examining motives from a mass shooting that took place outside a bar early Sunday morning. The Austin police chief was asked about images that show the gunman wearing a hoodie with the words "property of Allah" and an Iranian flag on his undershirt.
We see the second shirt with the Iran and the picture of the Shah on that T-shirt as well. We're thinking about events and what's occurring in the country as well.
So 2 people were killed. The gunman, the third person, killed, opened fire outside this bar in Austin's 6th Street district. The alleged gunman from Senegal, naturalized U.S. citizen, he was killed by officers who showed up following the rampage.
The motives, all of those things, that's what this investigation is about right now.
Yeah, so they're not ready just to say it's terror yet. The FBI involved in that investigation. An acrimonious hearing expected when Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem testifies before Congress later this morning. Noem faces the Senate Judiciary Committee as DHS remains unfunded, with Democrats demanding changes to ICE immigration enforcement operations. This is also the first time Noem will be questioned by lawmakers following the ICE-involved fatal shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. WABC News Time 514, a key gun rights case now in the hands of the Supreme Court. The justices yesterday heard oral arguments on whether marijuana users can be prohibited from possessing a pistol.
Habitual illegal drug users can regain their arms through their own voluntary conduct by not using illegal drugs so often.
That's Solicitor General Sarah Harris says the marijuana use should be considered different from alcohol or even prescription drugs because it's illegal at the federal level. The case under review, it's out of Texas. Ali Hermani was arrested for possession of marijuana in his home near Dallas. The FBI found a pistol. His lawyers argue that the law violates the Second Amendment. The Solicitor General, Sarah Harris, shot back at claims that a ruling could lead to the disarming of weekend beer drinkers.
Unlike alcohol, illegal drugs are illegal.
That Solicitor General says that Congress has deemed marijuana use dangerous at any level.
And their dangers extend beyond their mind-altering effects to the risks of the illegal drug trade.
And I guess my guess is we'll have to wait until the springtime, or later, I should say, later this spring to find out the ruling on that case, if it even comes that fast. Coming up on 5:16, a little sports action. My good friend Justin Justin Ellick enjoying some downtime in Puerto Rico. So in his place this morning is WABC's Rhonda Moss.
Let's start in the NFL. The Lions traded running back David Montgomery to the Texans for O-lineman Juice Scruggs and a couple of draft picks. Lions also released offensive lineman Graham Glasgow. Commanders released corner Marshawn Lattimore, saving the team $18 million in cap space. Celtics, without Jaylen Brown, torched the Bucks by 27 to spoil Giannis Antetokounmpo's return from a calf injury. Scored 19 points, grabbed 11 boards.
I'm just in there like a mindset that try not to take nothing for granted. Obviously, did not play well tonight, but at the end of the day, I'm just happy that I'm out there, being able to help my teammates in any way that I can and just do what I love, which is play basketball.
College hoops. Duke remains number one in this week's coaches poll, followed by Arizona, Michigan, UConn, with Florida up 2 spots to round out the top 5 on the court. Duke crushed NC State by 29 to win the ACC regular season title. Arizona knocked off Iowa State to clinch the outright Big 12 regular season title. That's sports. I'm Rhonda Moss.
Yeah, and the Rangers, they were unable to complete what would have been a crazy comeback last night at the Garden. They lost to the Blue Jackets 5-4 in overtime. Gabe Perreault scored twice as the Blue Shirts found the back of the net 4 times in the third period, but it was not enough. New York will host the Maple Leafs on Thursday. The World Baseball Classic returns today for the first time since 2023. The Yankees hosting Panama in Tampa. The Mets will take on Nicaragua in Port St. Lucie. Japan actually upset the U.S. in the last Classic back in 2023. Knicks hoping to stick to their winning ways. New York has won 4 of its last 5, entering tonight's battle in Toronto against the Raptors. And the Nets begin a 3-game road trip tonight. Brooklyn visiting the Heat for the first of 2 in Miami. The Nets are currently on an 8-game losing streak, and that's sport. WABC News Time 5:19. The search for Nancy Guthrie continuing in southern Arizona more than a month after the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie was reported missing. More from correspondent Liz Croy.
According to FBI crime data, kidnappings involving seniors over the age of 80 are extremely rare, fewer than 1% of all abductions. Investigators continue to work several leads, including the thousands of hours of footage amassed.
The 84-year-old Guthrie, she went missing on February 1st. Police, FBI still believe that she was abducted, but still no sign of her. People have been showing up to sign a banner outside a Tucson television station.
Outside the station where Savannah once worked, a growing number of messages of love and hope.
Why is it important for you to come and sign this wall? Because I'm a Tucsonan, and I'm a mother, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, an NBC law enforcement analyst, Jen Kavanaugh, says the doorbell camera footage may provide some clues in the case, but it doesn't seem to have so far.
The abductors have probably burned all their clothes. They've got rid of the car, but they can't get rid of video evidence that's in a neighbor's house.
Yeah, everybody trying to figure this out. Arizona State University forensic science professor April Stonehouse says investigators could have trouble analyzing DNA evidence if the sample contains DNA from both the victim and the suspect.
Then what they can potentially do is go back and rerun that sample and add more DNA, hoping to bring up the signal from the suspect's profile. But there's no guarantee.
What's amazing, of course, is with all the resources, it's still no sign of Nancy Guthrie now more than a month since she disappeared from her home in Tucson. 5:21. Let's go down to Miami, where a judge there saying yesterday that he had no sympathy at all for a 12, a 13, and a 15-year-old who's accused of taking a 12-year-old girl to a community garden in Miami last June, holding her down, putting rocks in her mouth, and then raping her.
Defendants are charged with offenses that are life felonies.
The attorney for a 13-year-old argued adult jail, no place for a child, even if they're charged with adult crimes. The father of the 12-year-old made a similar argument, stated that his son was with the wrong kids, calling the allegations bogus.
I'm extremely concerned, Judge, to have a 13-year-old in custody, sitting there for more than 2 weeks without this court being able to make a decision.
Mervyn Jones says his 12-year-old son is innocent.
These allegations are bogus. This is a 12-year-old boy we're talking about. We're going to leave him in jail and put a life charge on a young man.
Yeah, but the judge noted that the child inmates would be isolated from the adult population, checked on every 10 minutes, and receive schooling while they're behind bars. 522, First Lady Melania Trump chairing a meeting of the United Nations Security Council yesterday in what was a history-making first. It's the first time a First Lady has presided over the body, and the First Lady is getting that opportunity as the U.S. takes over the rotating presidency of the Security Council this month. Of course, the timing isn't great for her with the war in Iran going on.
Education is widely recognized as a fundamental human right, and yet today, so many children and young adults are banned from attending secondary schools and universities.
So this meeting yesterday was focused on children, technology, and conflict, emphasizing the role of education in advancing tolerance and world peace.
A nation that makes learning sacred protects its books, its language, its science, and its mathematics. It protects its future.
Now, it is not a new topic for the First Lady at all. In fact, she doesn't get the credit she deserves. She wrote to Russian President Vladimir Putin last year, later announcing that Ukrainian children misplaced during the ongoing war with Russia would be reunited with their families because she had pushed for that. 523, 2 people safe today with quite a story to tell after their hot air balloon got stuck on a cell phone tower in Texas over the weekend. They had to be rescued by firefighters. They're talking about it. Rescuers responded to the scene in Longview to find the balloon stuck more than 900 feet off the ground. It's the reason a lot of people would never get in a hot air balloon worrying about this moment.
It's just a basket that was swinging pretty good in the breeze there, and they're just hanging out in that basket with a partially torn balloon.
Yeah, so both occupants in the balloon's basket were conscious, unhurt. Took more than a dozen firefighters hours using multiple ropes and harnesses to finally get to the stranded duo and take them down. No structural damage to the cell tower was reported, and the 2 in the basket there, they're A-OK. Question is, will they ever go up in a hot air balloon again? My guess is probably not. 524, we are hearing from state attorney generals across the country yesterday, out with the 2025 list of the top types of consumer complaints across the country.
Number 1, once again, retail sales. A lot of people who are selling may use deceptive, unfair tactics, including auto renewals.
Number 2 on that list was professional services, which includes warranties, legal-related services, real estate, debt collection, rounded out the top 4. Last year, a record number of consumer complaints filed with state attorneys generals across the country.
I also think that more concentrated nature of our economy, less competition for customers, means some companies may think I can get away with mistreating customers.
Yeah, and the attorney generals say it's just, you got to do your homework when you sign on to these warranties. You're asked to sign anything that you should thoroughly go through it and make sure it's A-OK.
You hear a lot about warranties that are out there. Sometimes these warranties are pushed on consumers in a deceptive way, in an unfair way. Be careful what you sign up for. Do your homework.
By the way, it's so much easier now. Like doing your homework back in the day was doing a big search on Google. Now you can just throw all that contract into ChatGPT and it'll tell you whether it's legit or not. That quickly you'll get an answer back. 526, there is a sad mood hovering over the University of Colorado football program. I told you about the death of quarterback Dominic Ponder. Offensive coordinator Brennan Marin says the team decided the best way to honor Ponder was to practice yesterday.
His football story was going all over the place. He's been to multiple universities, working his way here. He loved Boulder, so that's what the guys wanted to do to honor him.
Ponder died in a single car crash in Boulder County when apparently he failed to negotiate a curve in the middle of the night. Colorado State Patrol still investigating the crash, but investigators believe speed was a factor. More from these coaches who were trying to help the team members mourn the loss.
He picked up one of our freshman quarterbacks, Keneal. He picked him up every day and brought him to practice. Just the little things. Every person that he touched, he made an impact on. It's his work ethic, right? Like he flashcarded my whole entire playbook that we gave him. He flashcarded every play.
We decided as a team, Dom wanted to miss the day. He wanted to miss the day of workouts, and that's what he would have wanted for us. He would have said, life's got to move on. We got championships to win.
Yeah, and good idea to just have the players all together. The time change this upcoming weekend puts Americans at a higher risk for health problems. We hear this every year. The clocks move ahead an hour on Saturday into Sunday for daylight saving time, resulting in the loss of an hour. And apparently this is kind of a big deal to your body.
We are getting more sunlight. So ensuring that you get sunlight in the morning is going to be one of the most important things you can do to reset your clock.
That's a sleep psychologist with the Cleveland Clinic. She says history shows that in the week after the time change, the number of heart attacks, strokes, and crashes rise. I've always meant to look this up and see if it's legit, but she recommends folks head into the time change well rested, getting 7 hours of sleep a night. Good luck with that. That hasn't happened for me in a while. And avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed. 527, traffic, transit on the 7s. Here's Joe Nolan. Have you gotten 7 hours of sleep any time recently?
No, and avoiding caffeine and alcohol are two troublesome as well.
Yeah. There's like my two favorite things.
Exactly. I've never noticed that, by the way, that there's an uptick in accidents during the time changes. I'm sure there is, but I've never noticed that. Every year they do these stories, and I keep thinking, I don't think that's true, but whatever.
I'm going to look it up because it does seem like one of those kind of bogus claims. But if you're not seeing it, I mean, you're the traffic guy. You've been doing it for like 100 years. Then maybe there's something to that.
Not quite 100, but almost.
Yes.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, March 3rd. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of rain and snow this morning, turning to all rain this afternoon, high 38. Tonight and overnight, showers, low 35, and then Wednesday, mostly cloudy. Chance of a pop-up shower, high 49. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 21 in cloudy in Nyack up in Rockland County. It's 30 and cloudy in Metuchen over in New Jersey, and it's 27 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 541. A mini version of the miracle on the Hudson taking place last night in Orange County. A small plane that was carrying two people crashed into the Hudson. This was just east of Stewart Airport about 8 o'clock last night. The Cessna 172 performed an ice landing right near Newburgh. Now, first responders were able to locate the plane really quickly, and the people in the plane were able to escape, and they made it to shore. The individual is a pilot, passenger evacuated at the scene before being taken to the hospital. Both had what are described as just minor injuries. They're expected to make a full recovery. FAA, of course, going to investigate how that crash took place. And then you had a United Airlines flight that was headed to Newark. Yesterday had to return to LAX in Los Angeles about 40 minutes after taking off for an emergency evacuation after there was some sort of fire on board. They haven't given us a whole lot of details, but the flight, which was en route to Newark, had to address this issue right away with one of the engines. There was a mention of a fire, but the LA Fire Department says they did put something out, and they when the plane finally did make it back to LAX and landed, here's what it sounded like with the air traffic controllers as they told them they were going to turn around for this emergency, and they needed room on the runway to make this happen.
We are going to evacuate. People will be coming out the right side, the side toward the runway.
Yeah, that we got from FlightAware. The LA Fire Department says they assisted with the evacuation. There was about 250 passengers on crew on board. Some of them took the taxiway, or rather the slide. Others were able to make it to stairs. You had the stewardesses, the airline personnel on the flight telling people don't take your suitcases, which is always amazing to me when you hear this. That people grab their suitcases and they were saying, no, you need to get out because the plane's on fire.
All bags. I repeat, do not bring your bags.
Yeah, so the airplane was a Boeing 787, a variant of the popular line of 787 Dreamliners. Now the FAA going to investigate why that engine caught fire. 5:43. Let's bring it back home out to Long Island, where a family speaking up after their daughter allegedly suffered this traumatic experience at a high school dance, accusing now a substitute teacher of sex assault. The alleged victim, we won't give you her name, her mom, they spoke to reporters yesterday about 3 weeks after the substitute teacher at Lawrence High School allegedly sexually assaulted the 16-year-old at a dance.
I just feel gross, violated, and unsafe.
My daughter was the one who initially notified me that she had been violated at school. The school did not contact me.
The family planning to file a lawsuit against the district alleging the school did nothing to protect their daughter. In that lawsuit, they state that school officials were negligent in responding to what allegedly happened. In fact, they say they didn't really at one point respond at all. Now, the substitute teacher is this 58-year-old who has been arrested now. But here's the mom and the lawyer speaking out yesterday. They plan to sue the Lawrence School District.
They failed her. They didn't protect her. Even after she stated what transpired, they sent her right back to class.
They gave her the runaround. They said, no, keep it down, keep it quiet. We'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll get to you when we get to you.
Now, we reached out to the school district for comment pending on the lawsuit, but they say they don't talk about pending lawsuits. They did say the substitute teacher was removed from his position.
Today is the first day that she went back to school. She hasn't wanted to go to school. She's afraid.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure we'll hear more on this when this lawsuit is actually filed. And just another creepy story. This is a horrible one out of Yorktown. A Yorktown nursing home worker is now accused of raping a patient with dementia at the Yorktown Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. Javier Berrigan is facing charges of allegedly raping this dementia patient. He's a housekeeper at the facility. According to the DA's office, the assault was discovered by a nursing assistant who was making her rounds for the day, and she reported that a door to a room was left open with its privacy curtains drawn. And that's when they discovered this assault, this sex assault taking place again on somebody with dementia. I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot sicker than that. Lindsay Heckler, she's the managing attorney for the Center for Elder Law and Justice. She spoke to News 12 about this accusation, and unfortunately, she said she's heard of other stories similar to this in the past.
Nursing home, when they admit a resident, regardless of their cognitive level, physical needs, they make a legal promise to that individual to uphold their safety. And something as straightforward as don't allegedly sexually assault a resident shouldn't have to be said.
Yeah, so the DA's office says the patient's dementia is so severe that she cannot give consent to sexual contact. A spokesperson for the nursing home does say they taking this situation seriously and that Berrigan was removed from the facility just immediately after they heard of this accusation. 5:46, time for a little sports action. Justin Ellick has the week off as he takes a little break, a little R&R. Filling in for him right now, WABC's Rhonda Moss.
Let's start in the NFL. The Lions traded running back David Montgomery to the Texans for O-lineman Juice Scruggs and a couple of draft picks. Lions also released offensive lineman Graham Glasgow. Commanders released corner Marshawn Lattimore, saving the team $18 million in cap space. Celtics, without Jaylen Brown, torched the Bucks by 27 to spoil Giannis Antetokounmpo's return from a calf injury. Scored 19 points, grabbed 11 boards.
I'm just in a mindset that try not to take nothing for granted. Obviously, did not play well tonight, but at the end of the day, I'm just happy that I'm out there, being able to, help my teammates in any way that I can and just do what I love, which is play basketball.
College hoops, Duke remains number one in this week's coaches poll, followed by Arizona, Michigan, UConn, with Florida up 2 spots to round out the top 5 on the court. Duke crushed NC State by 29 to win the ACC regular season title. Arizona knocked off Iowa State to clinch the outright Big 12 regular season title. That's sports. I'm Rhonda Moss.
And the Rangers unable to complete what would have been a great comeback last night at the Garden. They lost to the Blue Jackets 5-4 in OT. Gabe Perreault, he scored twice as the Blue Shirts found the back of the net 4 times in the third period. It wasn't enough, though. New York will host the Maple Leafs tomorrow. Rather, that's on Thursday. World Baseball Classic returns today for the first time since 2023. Yankees hosting Panama and Tampa. The Mets will take on Nicaragua in Port St. Lucie. Japan actually upset the U.S. to win the Classic back in 2023. Knicks hoping to stick to their winning ways. New York has won 4 of its last 5, entering tonight's battle in Toronto against the Raptors. And the Nets begin a 3-game road trip tonight. Brooklyn visiting the Heat for the first of 2 in Miami. The Nets are currently on an 8-game losing streak. And that's sport. WABC News Time 550. The Supreme Court clearing the way for New York City's only Republican in Congress to keep her seat.
The court Tuesday blocked a state ruling that Nicole Malliotakis' 11th congressional district, which includes all of Staten Island and a slice of southern Brooklyn, be redrawn. The state court and an appeals court held the district diluted Black and Latin voting power. Justice Samuel Alito said that ruling, quote, blatantly discriminates on the basis of race. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, writing in dissent that the decision invites every election law dispute in the nation to reach out to the Supreme Court. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Let's go up to the Bronx and Mount Eden section. A 12-year-old boy stabbed inside school yesterday by an 11-year-old girl who was taken into custody. The attack happened inside PS 218, the Rafael Hernandez Dual Language Magnet School. It was about 11 o'clock yesterday. Officers discovered the boy with a stab wound to his left arm. Police sources say somehow this 11-year-old girl was able to sneak a kitchen knife into the school. Parents, well, as you might guess, they want answers.
You know, a kitchen knife? How did that even get into the school?
Yeah.
My child, you know, she attends the school, and to even think that, you know, we weren't even contacted, and they, you know, they didn't reach out to the parents, that, you know, they have to do better. They have to do better.
Department of Education says the school provide counseling, mental health support to the school community, work closely with students, staff, and families to address the incident. But parents, some of them saying, I don't care if they do all that. I'm going to transfer my kid somewhere else.
I'm definitely considering changing her school because this is not a first that us parents were not, you know, being told what's going on within the building.
Now, as of last night, no official charges against that 11-year-old. A Staten Island native killed in action back in 2013 posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor at the White House yesterday. This was a nice moment. Staff Sergeant Michael Olis, who put himself between a suicide bomber and a wounded Polish officer in Afghanistan while serving there, saving the officer's life, was honored at the White House with both his family and the Polish officer on hand Monday. Olis was killed when he tried to save that Polish officer. Here was the president talking about him yesterday.
Warrior of world, of wars, and really terror. Staff Sergeant Michael Olis, born in 1988 on Staten Island. Michael grew up seeing the World Trade Center across the bay. I know Staten Island so well. The people in Staten Island are amazing. After 9/11, Michael enlisted in the Army, and by 24 years old, he was locked in. He loved it. He wanted it so badly. He was a squad leader serving in Afghanistan with the 2nd Battalion, 22nd Infantry Regiment, 1st Brigade Combat Team of the legendary 10th Mountain Division. On August 28, 2013, terrorists detonated a 400-pound car bomb on the east wall of the forward operating base, Ganzi. Along the way, he encountered a Polish soldier, and together they advanced under heavy fire, very, very heavy fire. At one point, shrapnel ripped through the Polish soldier's legs, rendering him unable to walk, very, very severely hurt. In that chaos of gunfire, explosions, and charred human remains, a terrorist insurgent appeared, rounding a corner with his suicide vest, fully armed, and you could see it. It was going to happen. He charged the wounded Polish soldier without hesitation. Michael raised his gun and forced himself between the insurgent and the man he just met, shielding him with his own body. He knew it was going to happen. He shielded him with his own body. You know, bravery's amazing. You never really know who's brave, who's not, until they're really tested. We think some people are brave, Pete, and they're not. We think others aren't, and they are. You never know. But he was tested. That's called the ultimate test, right?
Yeah, it was a really nice moment. I watched this morning when I got into the office.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Alice saved Lieutenant Carol Serpica, who was there yesterday. So that was another amazing moment. He spoke briefly, saying that the Alice family has become his second family. Serpica's wife, she gave birth to a son back in 2015, and guess what they named him? Michael in Alice's honor, which was a nice moment yesterday. Good job by the president. Of course, the Alice family said they were honored to get that award, but the father speaking last week ahead of the ceremony saying, of course, we'd much rather have his son than the award. 5:55, New York City going to remain on high alert as this war continues in Iran. The NYPD says its procedure to enhance patrols as it coordinates with the federal and international partners. New Yorkers say they've seen this uptick in police across the city, and they say that makes them feel a little bit safer and a little more worried.
I think we have enough problems here, and I'm just afraid because a lot of these, when the borders were open, we don't know who's in this country and who can retaliate.
You got to be vigilant, especially here in the city, because, you never know what's going to happen. In the wake of 9/11, it's always, that retaliation that you got to worry about.
Yeah, New Yorkers saying they're looking over their shoulder, making sure that if they see something, they say something.
We've seen these types of folks before, and the American people can rest assured that we're vigilant on that.
Yeah, okay, that's the police speaking out yesterday.
I am concerned. I think the United States should mind their business.
It's kind of concerning. I'm not a big fan of us going to war and all of that, but the politicians are going to make the decision. They make the decision.
And Governor Hochul speaking out yesterday as well says the state's going to do what it can to keep places of worship secure.
I also want to speak directly to Iranian New Yorkers that you are safe here. We will continue to ensure that you belong here and that you feel that the state of New York is doing everything we can to protect you, and the same with Jewish communities.
Yeah, and thousands of flights continue to be canceled in the U.S. around the world since the U.S.-Israeli strikes against Iran. They include flights to and from places like Tel Aviv, Dubai, Baghdad.
A lot of flights were canceled going to the Middle East or to the U.S. or U.K. Even our flight, which is a direct flight from New Delhi to Newark, that took 17 hours. Usually it takes less time, so it took a longer route.
Yeah, I can tell you a family that was in for a reunion this weekend from Israel. They have no idea when they'll be able to get back home.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.